Hi, I'm Dan Gable with Shore Murphy and Associates of Casey, and this is another episode of Big Agent in a Small Town. One of my favorite parts of my job is getting to help small business owners, help them understand insurance better and make insurance easier for them. And I especially enjoy helping someone who's starting a new small business. And one of the first questions someone starting a new small business has is, what kind of business insurance do I need? So I'm going to give a quick overview of the different coverages that are important for small businesses. Every type of business is different, so some of these coverages will apply, some might not. It's definitely important to talk to an independent insurance agent, and they can go over things more directly for your business and what companies can be a good fit as well too. So the first coverage for small businesses that's important is general liability. And general liability is important in a couple forms. The first one we think of a lot of times is premises liability for things like trips, slips, falls, things like that. So if you're obviously a retail store or a restaurant where you have a lot of foot traffic, I think that's a definite exposure for you there. Something that people don't always think of as much is what's called products and completed operations. So this would apply more if you're if you're starting a plumbing business or a carpentry business and there's property damage or bodily injury due to your work, that falls under completed operations. Or if you're an auto repair facility and the car is damaged due to something you did to it, or if you're a manufacturer that makes something, all that falls under completed operations. So that's important on the liability perspective. Next is property coverage, and that would be things like if you owned a building for your business, the coverage for the building, business personal property, so any property that you own and use for the business, you want coverage on. Also, if you are very location dependent on your business, you want to make sure you have what's called business income and extra expense. That would provide coverage if you had a claim on your building and had to be out of business for a while. It would cover over your loss of income and extra expense incurred or due to that claim as well. Another thing to keep in mind with property, if you have of property of others in your possession or mobile equipment that you're using, you're also going to need what's called inland marine coverage, meaning that that's going to cover your property wherever it's at. So that's another consideration on property coverage. And another thing is cyber coverage, and there are a lot of exposures there, whether or you're doing a lot of online transactions and money transfers where you have of liability there, or if you have of personal information of others and have liability exposure there. So definitely have a conversation with your insurance agent about cyber coverage and go over the possible exposures that you might have on that. Next is commercial auto, and obviously if you're using a vehicle for your business, you're going to have a commercial auto exposure. Or so whether you're a contractor driving to a job site or a florist making deliveries, is there anything in between? One consideration, especially on new small businesses starting, is a lot of times someone will be using their personal vehicle for the business as well too. If you're going to be doing that, I really recommend doing a commercial auto policy, or at the very least, you want to check with your personal auto carrier and make sure that they are all right with that business use and are classifying your personal vehicle as business use. The other pro of having a commercial auto policy is a lot of times if you have contractual requirements, it's going to require commercial auto liability, where your personal auto liability, you wouldn't fulfill that contract as well too. But again, that's a good discussion point with your agent as well too. Next is workers' compensation. So if you have any employees working for you in your business, workers' comp is going to cover them if they are injured on the job. And it is a mandatory insurance that you have to have if you do have any employees. So that's pretty straightforward in that way. And finally is what's called the commercial umbrella coverage, What that is, it's an additional liability limit that goes over all your other policies. So we would go over your general liability, your commercial auto liability, and also your employer's liability on your workers' comp. And especially with the things like rise in medical costs, rise in litigation, and it definitely is a good idea to have the commercial umbrella as well too. So it's a general overview. Like I said, I definitely recommend talking to an independent agent, and they can give you advice on the right coverages for your specific business. If you'd like to discuss your small business insurance with me, please reach out by phone or text at 217-932-2267 or by email to Dan, D-A-N, at ShoreMurphyKZ, ShoreMurphy.com. Thank you.